Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order at 4:29 p.m. and ask for the approval of the agenda. You should have received an addendum package with a letter to do with item number 5, the Shore Road Allowance from the Otter Lake Ratepayers Association. And in the closed session, we will be adding a verbal report from Councillor Osborne about the Community Policing Advisory Committee. So with that, could I have approval of the agenda? All in favor? Thank you. And before we begin this meeting, I would like to honor and thank our community partners of the First Nations, the Anishinaabe. And I want to draw your attention to some of the things that have been happening because of our wonderful staff in the last little while. In spite of COVID, it is almost business as usual for all the services that we provide to our ratepayers. And unlike many of our neighboring municipalities, Seguin continues to issue building permits, do building inspections, and offer all of our planning services. Our staff, our folks have pivoted. They're working from home, leveraging the telephone and internet services like never before. We have many new faces in planning and building that are really focusing on the exceptional customer experience we've focused on in our strategic plan. And in community services, they're pivoting too. Hundreds of cedar saplings ordered for the schools for Earth Day had to be distributed throughout the community when our schools were shuttered unexpectedly due to COVID. Programs like the Whispering River Coffee House have gone virtual, and Kara and Dominique continue to plan the swim program. The road crews have done an outstanding job through the load limit period, and spring cleanup is proceeding beautifully in spite of many rainy days. In the office, all staff reports are now electronic, and invoicing and their approvals have moved electronically. Many of these changes council and the public may never really see, but they are efficiencies that are improving how we do business. And I also know we're going to be saving many trees. So a special thank you to the staff who are making important improvements in spite of a tough time. Thank you to all. And I really want to point out to everybody, if you haven't seen the Whispering River and Humphrey School video, which is on our website, you really should watch it. I think it's 11 minutes. It was funded by the school board, and it is a glowing example of what community programming can be and why we are Seguin and the best place to be. So do take a look at it. Councillor Moffat, you have something to say?
Yes, I know you mentioned phone system. Is the phone working properly, or is it still in limbo? Because that's been a challenge.
I will ask the CAO to respond to that one.
Thank you, Councillor Moffat. I believe we are back to normal, but every day is an adventure. So we had battled with some specialized technicians traveling from a long distance to come out and repair an off-site issue, but I think customers should expect routine service when they make the phone call into the community, into the township hall now.
Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? I see none. So I will read the first motion. That Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular and closed session meetings of Council held on April 19th, 2021 as circulated. Could I have a motion by Councillor Moffat?
I so move, Mayor.
And seconded by Councillor Cole.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you. Council will now consider the following shore road allowance application. Shore road allowance application number RAS 2020-0010-F for Doherty and Matthews, Otter Lake, bylaw number 2021-028. Has anyone registered to speak to this application?
No one has registered to speak to the application.
Have there been any written objections received related to this application?
Correspondence has been received from the Otter Lake Ratepayers Association.
And Lauren, would you like to, there you are, okay. Explain this for us, thank you.
Of course, through your worship, to all members of council. So this applicant actually is looking to replace their existing septic system, and North Bay Mattawa had advised them that they would need to first purchase the SRA. So the existing septic system is outside of that first 20 meters, but because it's a little too close for North Bay Mattawa, they do need to see that the shore allowance is purchased first. I did review the letter from OLRA, and I did do a little bit of research back into the flooded land policies that we have, and I can go into that if you guys would prefer. So the practice of selling flooded lands have been in place since 2009. We did receive a letter from M&R consenting to the township transferring the flooded portions, if that's what council prefers.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Moffat?
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with the comments from the Otter Lake Ratepayers Association, and last year we did see some discretions within the 20-meter buffer on a number of occasions once, you know, owners had the shore road allowance. So this concerns me that it's flooded land. It could be you know, underwater. It could be, there could be species at risk, etc. there that we're giving away, or sorry, we're selling off shore road allowance that, you know, may fall over into a problem down the road, in that if it starts to get developed, as opposed to having, you know, kept the shore road allowance and not permitting any further development under ownership of the township. So I would like us to see if we can either pause this or see if there's another option that we can go with, such that we wouldn't have to sell this first or part two of it, of the flooded lands, to see if there's another option. Thank you.
Okay, I see comments from Councillor Osborne and Councillor Cole. Councillor Osborne first, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with Councillor Moffat here and Ms. Muller. Maybe, Lauren, there's a question I have for you. When you mentioned about the purpose of purchasing the shore road allowances to get some separation on the 20 meter, where would the new, I don't see on this sketch or this drawing, where the new septic is deemed to be placed. Is it going to be replaced where it is, or in a new location?
Through your worship to Councillor Osborne, it is going to be replaced in the existing location, which is outside of the first 20 meters of the shoreline area.
So it's been that way all along, I take it. Can you plot it, somehow verbally plot it on the property so I know better where that is? I don't see an indication of it. Maybe I'm missing it.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it's shown on that, on the survey. They don't plot out
No.
structures or buildings.
Can you give us an idea where the building and the septic bed would be roughly, please?
Yeah, roughly. I'm just looking at it now from the aerial photo. So the septic bed, I believe, would be about 6 meters south of the 20 meter mark. And then that's where the bed area and tile is. And then the house would be I would say about another 6 meters south of that.
Okay, when you say south of the flooded area? Or it's south of what?
Of the
portion?
shore road allowance lands.
Yes, but what, I guess I'd like a little more definitive plotting of this, because there's shore allowance all along the shore.
So it would be outside of the part 1.
Okay, so
Yeah,
where it
so-
says part 1, that's where it encroaches less than the 20 meters. kind of thing. Yeah,
Yes, so it's
Okay.
not within part 1 or within part 2. It's outside of that.
right, okay. But the fact that this request for purchase of the shore allowance is to accommodate the new septic and give it the separation it needs, leads me to worry about a flooded area in proximity to a flooded area, or in proximity to a septic bed, period. It's different than being back on the property further away from a normal shoreline where a flooded area can fluctuate with high water marks and low water marks, etc. So, and I realize there's a covenant here. I don't know why there's a 50-year limit to it, but it appears that rather than do the covenant in an effort, to protect the environment, why wouldn't we just vacate that sale totally and only sell the part 1 to be on the safe side and keep it under strict control that way of the township as owner? Thank you.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Through your worship to Councillor Osborne. So at the end of the day, it is up to council. They do have the authority to sell the flooded lands. However, council can make that determination if they wish to proceed.
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
I see some other hands. I do want to point out that the septic approval comes from North Bay Mattawa, not from the township. Councillor Cole.
Yeah, I just, my concern with the opposition is simply that the shoreline is protected in any event. It's a protected zone. It's in much of this area, I know on the opposite side, not the side in question tonight, but the other side I know is an EP zone. And I'm pretty sure that this flood area is probably also an EP zone. Lauren may answer that. But the area is protected. And as we found out last year with a property on the long arm, there were some consequences to somebody who tried to develop the shoreline. There were significant consequences. So I guess, many people buy the shoreline and never do anything with it, most people. And maybe we need to put out a warning when we do the transaction that it's understood that no development at all occurs on this property. It's protected property, it's shoreline, and it goes with our environment first. But because somebody buys the shoreline doesn't give them the right to develop on it. That's my position.
That's correct. Councillor Fellner.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm kind of struggling here with why the Conservation Authority would recommend for them to buy the flooded portion. Is that because they couldn't, they can't meet our 20-meter setback? What's the reasoning behind that? I don't really get that, to tell you the truth.
Through your worship to Councillor Fellner. So it's my understanding, North Bay Mattawa didn't specify the flooded lands. They just wanted the whole shore road allowance portion to be purchased.
Right.
Our CBO, I'm not sure if he's on the call right now, but my understanding is that the septic had to be further back from that shore road allowance if it wasn't in their name. So they either had two options from North Bay Mattawa. They could buy the SRA and replace it as is, or they can move it further back. But it's also my understanding that there's some issues and they weren't able to move it back.
Right, okay. So then they want to buy on your map here. I'm just having a little trouble following it. They want to buy part 1 and part 2?
Yes, you're correct.
part one is the original shore road allowance, right? And part two is the flooded lands. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna read the motion before us. Motion that bylaw number 2021-028, being a bylaw to close, stop up, and sell a portion of the original shore road allowance, application RAS 2020-0010-F for Doherty and Matthews, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Could I have a motion from Councillor Cole
Also move.
and seconded by Councillor Vincent?
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, I see more hands up now again. Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Mayor. Could I move an amendment to this? It's a motion, a resolution? Which is it?
It's a motion.
Can I move to amend this motion? In that we remove part two from the motion and only allow part one? Can I get a seconder for it?
No, because it's a bylaw, so it's not just a motion, it's the bylaw, and that's the bylaw that you're actually looking at, so it would have to be a change to the bylaw, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's why I asked if it was amendable, and I guess it's not, Mayor. Okay.
I look to the clerk for the expert advice on what's amendable.
Exactly. Okay, so we either approve or defeat the whole thing.
Councillor Moffat?
Can I call for a recorded vote, please?
Sure. I do want to point out that the covenant that you're looking at is the standard covenant that has accompanied 100% of the shore road allowance purchases. And Councillor Coles is absolutely correct that owning the shore road allowance does not give them permission to do anything. They have to get a building permit, any kind of a permit to do anything at the water. I have one comment from Councillor Felder.
Yeah, just a question. I mean, the flooded lands are flooded, are they not? They're underwater. It's just a question of where title is held. So it's not, in this particular case, it's not held with the Crown. It's held with the Township for some reason. Is that correct, Mark? Okay, so, but they're flooded. I mean, what can you do in a flooded piece of property? I mean, what are you gonna do in the lake bottom? Nothing. Can't do anything with it. So, okay, so that's what I thought. Thank you.
Councillor Osborne.
Just in response, Mayor, to Councillor Fellner, I guess you could put a dock or something out there. There was a suggestion that approvals of this kind to sell the shore allowance should also include a clause that there can be absolutely no development. Does it currently, Lauren, does our sale or our terms of sale include that clause that no development whatsoever can take place on the shore allowance?
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Osborne. So as Anne had referred to, we do have the covenants in place, so they would have to go through the regular process. So for example, if they did want to put a dock on there, they would have to go through the building permit stage. So they would still have to go through all the correct processes. If there was an issue at that building permit stage, that's when DFO and these other agencies would get involved.
Okay, through you, Mayor, just in response to that, when you say they would have to go through the normal process of applying for permits, then there is the possibility, if an application came through to do something there, that something could pass. That's why I'm saying the terms of our sale do not say you can never develop. And maybe that's a feature that should be embedded in those terms to prevent somebody from applying later with a different council who's a little more sympathetic to a dock or a deck or something. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Quick question to you, Lauren. Is it an EP zone there? Do you know?
Through your worship, no EP zone.
No EP zone, okay, thank you. Councillor Fellner?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Are we talking about a piece of flooded land, or are we talking about a significant wetland here, right? And I think the other question that I have to ask to the mayor, to Lauren, is there do these people have an existing dock already? They have an existing cottage, obviously. It's hard to tell from this plan.
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Fellner. So there is an existing dock. There is no EP area. And as with all the shoreline allowance purchases, yes, they would have to go through still the dock permit process if that's what they're looking to do. But there is no proposal on this application specifically. They aren't proposing to do anything other than replace the existing septic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any call for a vote? I'll put this one right here. Yes, so that's why he's got it, because he's.
Councillor Moffett,
Nay.
Councillor Fellner,
I'm sorry, we didn't hear you?
Yay.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Councillor Cole,
Yes.
Councillor Osborne,
Nay.
Councillor Benson,
I'm sorry, you're muted. We need to hear.
Yes, sorry.
Councillor Collins is absent, and Mayor McDermott.
Yes. Okay, so it passes with 3 votes in favor of selling the shore road allowance and 2 against, and Councillor Collins is still absent. He indicated he would be late today. Thank you. So with that, we move to the deeming part of that bylaw number 2021-029, being a bylaw to deem Lot 5 of Plan M296 pursuant to Section 50(4) of the Planning Act not to be on a plan of subdivision, property roll number 4903-030-005-16900, file number D 2020-0008-F for Doherty and Matthews is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Could I have a motion from Councillor Fellner?
So moved.
And seconded by Councillor Finson.
I second that.
All in favor? Thank you, and that's carried. Welcome, Councillor Collins. You haven't missed much, but we see you're here now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the staff reports as presented on the agenda for May 3rd, 2021 meeting of Council. Could I have a motion from Councillor Moffett?
I so move, Mayor.
And seconded by Councillor Osborne.
Second, Mayor.
All in favor of receiving the staff report? Thank you, and that's carried. And I will call on Michelle, I believe. There you are, okay. Take it away, Michelle.
This is our first financial update for the year. I have to say, for the first time in almost 16 years at the township, it's the first time I've ever predicted an operating deficit, but it is specifically due to COVID. With the loss of the rentals of the facilities, particularly the ice surface, we're looking at some serious revenue shortfalls. It's offset slightly by the hold on the septic reinspection program, At the end of the day, we will be able to use the COVID money that we received from the province. Right now, there's, I believe, 429,000. We've spent about 24,000 so far this year, but we will have that money available to offset any operating deficits at the end of the year.
Thank you. Our Councillor Osborne, you have a question?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, that's not a bad deficit, Michelle. That's pretty good budgeting. Question for Director of Facilities. Have we yet been able to proceed on COVID-related improvements in our facilities during this quiet period? Thank you.
I'll ask the CAO to respond to that.
Sorry.
Oh, is Dominique there? Oh,
Yeah, I am
great.
here.
Dominique.
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button. Yes,
Okay.
we are currently going from building to building. So we've been doing the Rasa waterfront. That's complete for when we are allowed to open it. Foley Matheson as well. And we're also looking at the municipal office and the arena, and then we'll go on from there. So it is in progress.
Good.
Councillor Moffat.
Thank you, Mayor. Michelle, what's the timing for our audited financial statements? Do we have an update?
Yep, I just received the drafts last week. They've
Okay.
gone back to KPMG, and I expect that they will be at our next meeting.
Okay. And I'm wondering about our property tax receivable. I'm wondering if we could, on our next financial update, receive some, let's call it an aged accounts receivable report with regards to property tax. I'm not sure if it's in that format or just to
I
understand.
can actually tell you right now that the property tax receivable is $150,000 less this year than it was at this time last year.
What's the total though?
So right now it's at 1.45 million.
And what's the age of it? 60,
Most
90?
of it is current. No, most of it's current. And we don't use 60, 90. We actually use current year, prior year.
Okay.
The bulk of that is current year.
Is there a report that could be brought forward at the next financial update with that information?
At the next financial update, I can give you an idea of what those levels are at. Yes, it's
Okay.
going to be a little skewed because
Yep.
we'll be sending the tax bills out next week.
Yep.
But I will see what I can do to provide that information.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Any further questions for Michelle? Thank you, Michelle. Nobody likes the
Welcome.
deficit, but we know you've got it covered. So, thank you. And I'll go to Director Coppage for the seasonal roads update. And next.
Hello. The report basically lines out what our plans are for 2021, and we're going to work hard to achieve those goals. I don't know what more to say, but that's what the plan is. We're going to be doing some investigation into the Ferris Road Hill, and we've started some work on that, and we'll see what the best approach to the hill is, and then we'll put some engineering together for it.
Okay. Thank you. I have some hands up, so Councillor Coles, you go first.
Thanks, Mayor. And Peter, thank you for this report. I really appreciate getting it this time of year. It's really helpful because constituents do call, as you know. My question is on Burkett Road, as an example, where you describe it as providing ditching and culverts. I assume that we're not planning to do year-round snow removal on Burkett Road. Is that correct?
No, we are not.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a phased approach. The whole approach to this was not doing a whole road at once, but doing a little to all of them, and then at some points it come to the surface. If you look at Morgan Bay, we did work on it last year. This year we have to put some guardrails in and do some further work to make it safe for us to plow. So,
but Otter Lake Road, on the other hand, you're planning to plow it this year, but if I read that correctly.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Upgrade year round.
Councillor Moffat.
Thank you, Mayor. I also would concur with Councillor Coles on his comments. You sort of touched on it, Peter, in terms of the engineering work. I'm presuming that it will be completed at some point here in 2021,
Yes,
such that you will have a plan forward for fall as we move into budgeting period for
that's
2020.
the intent. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Mayor. Peter, good report. I see you've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 5 roads that you want to upgrade in 21, which is pretty ambitious. I'm wondering how the condition of our existing roads is going to impact your time and your scheduling for the upgrades on these new upgrades on these roads, given the fact that we've got some problems on Clear Lake Road, as it's been reported to me, and we've got potholes appearing on Turtle Lake Road, which was just surfaced last year. I don't know what kind of maintenance that's going to incur, but is that going to possibly affect your upgrade schedule in 21, given the fact that there's going to be some maintenance, heavy duty maintenance to be done on Clear and Turtle Lake?
Well, this money was budgeted. The work that we've got lined up here is budgeted, a separate line item, and not included in our operations.
Well, I understand it was budgeted. I'm not so much concerned about the money as your time allocations with your crew. Given a limited crew, are you going to be able to accomplish these upgrades while at the same time maintaining these issues that have popped up this spring on Clear and Turtle Lake roads? I guess that's
these.
It's a manpower issue, Peter.
Yeah, most of this is contracted.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Fellner.
Thank you, Mayor. Peter, the Island View Road from Pheasant to Bluebird,
Yeah,
you're gonna start plowing that as well?
that's our goal. We've got about 6 culverts to put in there, and there's some blasting and ditching to do.
Yeah.
And we have to, once we can drain it, it's really not a bad road. It just needs the drainage, and that's what we plan to do there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see no further questions, and it's a comprehensive report, so thank you, and keep up the work.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin supports the 2021 census and encourages all residents to complete their census questionnaire online at www.census.gc.ca. Accurate and complete census data supports programs and services that benefit our community. Could I have a motion from Councillor Cole?
I will so move.
And seconded by Councillor Collins.
I second that motion, Mayor.
All in favor? Thank you. And I know Dominique is getting busy with the website with this. We decided to wait till we passed that, but anytime you can talk up the census will mean that the data on our region is more complete. The more people complete it, the more complete the information. So would hope that we could do that. The next item is pretty self-explanatory. There is consultation happening from the Minister of Municipal Affairs about codes of conduct, and they are asking for a representative to attend these meetings. I am prepared to do so on behalf of council unless anyone else is anxious to do so. I don't see anybody jumping through the screen. Councillor Moffat, you want to do it?
Sure, Mayor. Happy to do it.
So you're prepared to attend the events. There's 3 of them.
Sorry, what was that?
You've got that on your calendar?
I don't have it in my calendar, but I will. Yeah.
Okay, you need to advise them, or will you advise them, Craig, by May 6th?
He should register.
You need to register by May 6th,
Okay.
as outlined.
Yep. I'll do it this evening.
Okay. And now we're at council report. Councillor Simpson, how about you go first?
Oh,
I think the only meeting I've attended is the museum meeting. And it went really well. It was a good meeting. They have a few things on their plate for this upcoming year. Hopefully, if they open, they're going to do some work on a living history. So they're going to do some videos on living history. They've got some ideas about guided tours and railway stories. They had some ideas too. They wanted to do the escape room again. So they have lots of ideas and they seemed pretty good. I mean, of course, it's my first meeting, so I didn't learn a lot. I did learn, though, that they would help me with doing a living history of the Rosso Community Hall, which will help me out when I have to do the fundraising. So it was overall a very good meeting, and I learned a whole bunch of things I didn't already know. That's all I have right now. Hopefully I'll have more at the next meeting. And I've been busy with the phones, but other than that, just working the COVID booking in the clinics right now. And that's all I have. So thank you.
Councillor Collins.
yes, Mayor. Since our last meeting, there's nothing to report. My next DSAB meeting is on the 13th of this month.
Okay,
Board meeting. All right?
thank you. Councillor Fellner.
Same situation as Councillor Collins. I haven't had any committee meetings since the last council meeting, although I do have the balance of the month. I have all three of them. The only thing that I have to sort of advise council on pertains to park, not official, but the feeling of the executive at the moment is that we're not going to be able to open this trail to the public anytime soon. Badly flooded in sections. It may be possible to open parts of it, but certainly our recommendation to the board of Park to Park is to leave it closed until the flooded sections can be drained, and we've got a strategy in place to do just that. So just a heads up, nothing official. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a meeting last night with the members only of the CPAC Community Policing Advisory Committee, and I'll be talking to that point in camera on an issue of organization. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Cole.
Yeah, again, it's been busy. March 21st, we had a special committee meeting to do with the Westbury Sound Health Center and our campus of care position. On the 28th, we had a Belvedere Heights meeting, and the issues there, again, in large part revolved around what we're doing with the Westbury Sound Health Center. On March the 30th, I met with Donald Sanderson and Kevin, who's that last name I don't want to say in case it comes out wrong, the chair of the hospital board, just to make sure we were on track, and they were on side with what we were doing, and they assured me that we are, and they are. Belvedere has issued 2 RFPs, which is interesting. They issued an RFP for a conditional assessment of the Belvedere building, and we've issued an RFP for a master site plan for the Westbury Sound Health Center, which has to do with the development of the campus of care. And this information is now public. Paul went before the Parry Sound Council at their last meeting, and we've issued a press release, which we may have received. I don't know whether the township's received it yet or not. Yeah, I see it's not in our package tonight, but it was released this week. So it will be coming public to all the municipalities in the next few days. Above that, I've had requests from constituents around subdividing property on McGowan Lake, which I understand we cannot do. And there's seasonal road requests, which I'm delighted with Peter's report because I'm able to get back to people with where we're headed. And that's pretty much in my week.
Okay, thank you. I know that the Belvedere meetings are prolific. So
yes,
thank you for all the time you're giving to them. Councillor Moffat.
Thank you, Mayor. Both you and I and Jason attended the SmartCo AGM on the 21st of April. That was a short meeting, but it was an interesting, I think, next steps in terms of the last mile focus on that. I think there was some disappointment expressed with regards to getting people signed up on the Carling and a few other areas. So I think that's what I took out as a to-do. On the 21st, there was a meeting, the municipality of McDougall with regards to an ice cap deputation. We are hopeful that McDougall is joining the ice cap team. That was the purpose of that. It may have been 4th or 5th deputation, so I haven't heard as of yet, but it certainly was promising, and the comments coming back from their council were very positive, so that bodes well. Attended Love Muskoka Sustained Muskoka virtual speaker series with as part of Earth Day and the environmental commissioner. That was an interesting discussion. Other than near the end, we had some Zoom technical difficulties and she lost her power. And so she was finishing up her presentation by telephone. Someone else was running the slides. So it was a little bit of a technical glitch. Muskoka Watershed Council, we've had a couple of those meetings. Was not able to attend the official plan steering committee last Thursday, but I understand the video is available, so I haven't had a chance to look at it. I'd like to. I've received, similar to Councillor Coles, received some questions, comments on seasonal roads, but the one that's recently popped up is with regards to the new fire pumper truck and what is going on with Station 10-2. There's some concern being expressed by some of the firefighters. So I know I've had a discussion with Councillor Collins on this, and I know that he's followed up with Jason, but I'm wondering if there's a plan or their staff report maybe coming forward from Don Hood or such with regards to the fire halls.
I'll ask Jason to reply.
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Councillor Moffat, yes, I did receive some inquiries, and staff will undertake a report and update council in due course.
Okay, thank you. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, and I will just briefly review what I've been up to. I attended on April 20th the Community Action Group, which is a group made up of the Y and JSAP and some of us mayors, where it reviewed the systematic barriers to work and employment. I sent out the PowerPoint to all of you following that meeting. I found it interesting what some of those barriers are for the individuals that are in the program. Also on the 20th, Gail and I attended the Transportation Committee. That you've seen the draft questionnaire, and it started out as West Parry Sound, and East Parry Sound has now asked to join the entire transportation survey, so it will be a district-wide survey, and it's our goal to get it out through a mail drop and online by the end of May or early June. And one of the things that came out of both this and the Community Action Group is that the Y Employment Center in Parry Sound has 2.5 jobs available, openings, for the number of people that are out of work. So that's an interesting finding for our area. They just can't get help. And then, as Daryl mentioned, on April 21st was the SMART annual general meeting. April 27th was the airport operations meeting, and we've started to get drone footage of what this work is being done on the new road runway. April 29th was the third, I think, of Dr. Shiroko's meeting with mayors, where he updates us on the status of COVID in the area and the vaccinations. We continue to be officially the health region with the lowest case count per 100 people in the entire province. So keep up the good work, everybody. Same day, we had the official plan review roundtable on economic development. That was the topic that time, and we'll be having others on the other 5 topics. It was a good discussion. Unfortunately, not that many people of the steering committee attended. So I'm hoping that ones going forward, we can get replies at least. And then last Friday was the launch of the Whispering River and Humphrey School video that I encouraged you to watch at the beginning, and I really would hope that you take a look at it and share it with your neighbors. And that's my report. Oh, sorry, Councillor Moffat.
Oh, no worries, Mayor. I was pleased to hear Donald Sanderson coming back to the COVID numbers. I was pleased to see Donald Sanderson either tweeted or there was a interview or something that said, in all likelihood, there's probably 4 times the numbers, but unfortunately the other ones are being reported in their home postal code, and not to trump the positiveness, but just give it some, tamping of the brakes that, it's not all roses and lollipops, that we still need to be concerned. So I was really appreciative to hear that commentary from Don Sanderson.
Thank you. Yeah. That the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the board and committee agendas and minutes and the correspondence as presented on the agenda for May 3rd, 2021 meeting of council. Could I have a motion from Councillor Finson?
I so move, Mayor.
And seconded by Councillor Fellner.
Second that, Mayor.
All in favor? Thank you. And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby proceed to a closed meeting at 5:15 p.m. in order to address matters pertaining to information explicitly supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board by Canada, a province or territory, or a crown agency of any of them. And this is concerning the Community Policing Advisory Committee for the Ontario Provincial Police Detachment Boards, and that's an update from Councillor Osborne, and educating or training members about meeting procedures. Could I have a motion from Councillor Moffat?
I so move, Mayor.
And seconded by Councillor Collins.
I'll second that motion, Mayor. Thank you.
All in favor of moving into closed? Thank you. Are we okay to go? We're just going to wait for our technical pieces to fall into place.